Okay, we've got one more update on this, and just give you a little update on what this camera is using. So this is the Nikon Z50 Mark II that I'm using for this. The Viltrox 35mm f1.7. I believe that's one they refer to as the Air or whatever. You know, it's really lightweight. Actually really good, really good optically for what it is, and super cheap, or inexpensive if you want to say it that way. 4K 60, there is a little bit of crop on this. I believe I'm at f2.8. Yeah, I'm at f2.8. No ND filter or anything, so the shutter speed is pretty high. Actually, like 1/500th of a second. What else? Manual white balance. Set it manually to daylight white balance because the last video I made with this, face was kind of green. But it seems like the Panasonic actually does a little better with auto white balance in the shade when I'm doing video. So anyway, a little bit of an update on my G9 II, and I'm also in product review mode, just to make the focusing easy on this. So if it sees me in the frame, it'll focus on me. As soon as I jump out and hold something in front, it'll focus on that quickly. I was watching the S1 Mark II video from Petapixel, you know, Jordan and what's his name? Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, the guy's up in Canada. They mentioned something during that video about the autofocus settings on the Panasonic cameras right out of the box, and I never really thought about this because any other camera that I've shot with, whether it be the Sony or the Nikon, a couple different Nikon cameras, you know, Nikon again, it's the cameras, the newer cameras with what Nikon calls 3D tracking. So that's AFC with general subject tracking, is not some kind of specific target like a person, car, animal, whatever. It's just a generic subject tracking. I didn't really have to tweak that stuff, just for really basic point and shoot, you know, like a focus and recompose, like a subject that's not moving at all, or it's just moving slowly, like a person or something, walking. But they mentioned, you know, you need to tweak the AF settings, you know, the custom AF settings. So I'll show you what I did in here in just a moment. But so far it is definitely making a difference, and this might solve most of my problem. You know, the other video I made about slow startup time if the camera's been sitting a while, and an unexplained, sometimes 2-second delay or whatever to play back a photo after you've shot a photo, or even, you know, it doesn't have to be right after you shot a photo. Could be, you know, after the camera's been on for a while and you press playback button, it just sometimes doesn't show the photo right away. By the way, the other thing that's strange about this G9 II, if I turn the camera on, once it's ready and you hit the menu button, you're in the menus. For some reason, like I'll do that to, like I offload my photos to the camera, or to my computer. And now I've got the card back in, and I turn the camera on. And I can do this even if the card's been in there for a while. It doesn't matter if you just inserted the card or not. So I turn the camera on, go into the menu, and the delete all function, delete all option is not available. It's like grayed out for some reason. So I don't know if that's some kind of indicator or what's something going on with the storage and how it camera accesses the storage and why it's taking longer to play back a photo or something. But I noticed if you turn the camera on and try to go right into, and this is like right after turning the camera on and it's ready to get into the menus, and then you press the menu button, the delete all button or function is not available. It's just grayed out. But if you get out of the menu, you know, camera's still on, get out of the menu, go back into the menu, now the delete all button or the option is selectable, and you can delete all the photos in the memory card. So anyway, what I did was changed the AF custom settings to be as locked on as possible, and I also set the option for the prediction of the subject, you know, whether it's erratic or whatever, to be, you know, like a steady, so the camera can assume that the subject is not going to be moving erratically, and, you know, so it'll try to stay locked on to whatever the AFC tracking selects as a target, or whatever you accept. And that's the other issue, you know, again, the box is way too big, in my opinion, on the G9 and G9 II and the other Panasonic cameras. Whereas on the Nikon camera, it's just a really tiny box for the 3D tracking, and you can focus on just like a small leaf on a plant and it'll focus on it. But you can't select a really small target like that with the G9 II, and that's another one of my issues. But let's say I've got a subject, and the targeting is good enough as far as the box, the size of the box. I don't mind, maybe it's a person, or it may be a door on a car. It could be anything that the target box is able to focus on and correctly hit the target that I want. And so now that it's locked onto that target, then I can recompose. So basically, and again, this is all I'm doing. I'm just static subject, subject's not moving. It could be a very slow moving subject. I just want to get, focus on it and recompose and then take the photo. And, sometimes, like I said, if you move around a little bit, or you're, back and forth or side to side, sometimes if you focus and recompose with AFS and single point autofocus, focus wants to stop. If you move around a little bit, depending on the depth of field, it may be not really in focus now, just a little bit off. So anyway, I've changed these settings, and so far it seems to be doing a pretty good job, at least much better than before, and I'll keep using it. I'll just leave that set on here and just keep using it that way, and we'll see what happens. But maybe that's the key to solve most of my problem with the camera, the G9 II, as far as do I want to take it on big trips, because like I said in the other video, if I'm really strapped for time, I don't have a lot of time, it's too frustrating to try to use the G9 sometimes, because of the trying to get a focus real quick, make sure it's in focus, and then review the photo before I have to walk off, because again, in some of these situations, I only have one shot, one chance, and maybe get one or two pictures, and then I have to leave and keep following a group of people or whatever. So here's the settings I've changed, just so you can see how I have mine set right now. So go into the menu and try to make sure there's not a reflection there. So custom, if I go back, AF custom setting photo is what it is. And so go into that, using set 1, trying to make sure I don't get this out of the frame. And I'm using -2 for AF sensitivity. Sorry about that. Let's move it over here. -2 for AF sensitivity. And for AF area switching sensitivity, again, -2. And if you look over here, where it says locked on, so that's the most locked on. And then moving subject prediction, again, constant is the setting for that one. Yeah, sorry if it's got a reflection on there. So I'm going to try this. So far, like I said, it's been doing really well. And if that continues working well for me, then that'll solve most of my problems, and I feel like I can take the camera on bigger trips. And the other reason I wanted to make this video, I've kind of got a just more of a play thing, but I did want to share this information. But I've got myself a DJI Mic II, and it's really small. I thought it would be bigger. And I'm laughing because that's what she said. But you don't want to hear that's what she said for that. But it is really small, and I definitely thought it would be bigger. But this is kind of a neat little thing. First of all, 32-bit float, and if you really needed to do that, to recover some really, almost clipped audio, which I don't really do it anyway. I just wanted a good quality lav mic, wireless mic. Some funny things about this, I'll just mention it real quick if you're interested in it. It's got one of these magnets on the back, and I'm not going to try to pull it off. I'm afraid I'll press the power button or something, but the magnet is stuck on there right now, and you pull that magnet off and you can put it under your shirt and then just stick this right to your shirt. But good grief, that magnet is strong. I've had some other like Godox wireless mics and really weak magnet, but this thing is crazy strong. The other thing is, well, first of all, it's got a little clip here. If you look under, it's not just flat under there, so I clip that onto my pocket and it's not going to pull loose because of those little ridges in there. The other thing, there's no like little clip on the receiver. The receiver's on top of the camera right now, obviously. And it's got a nice display. I can see the audio bouncing around as I'm talking. But there's no like little clip or any kind of dial to tighten it down, because on the clip on the receiver, underneath of it in there, it's got like a little, there's some rubber underneath of it. So you don't have to tighten it down or anything like that. It just, when you push it onto the hot shoe, or cold shoe if you're using whatever, it's just naturally tight. It's actually a little tighter than I really want or need it, but you know, so maybe just put it in about halfway. But yeah, that's a pretty neat little microphone. I think this was a little over $200, I think is what I paid for it. So anyway, I haven't really done any changes other than I set my camera to my Z52. I think it goes up to 20 as far as the volume for the input microphone, and I brought it down to 9 because it seemed like it was maybe a little bit too hot. But anyway, I'm a novice when it comes to video and audio, but I just wanted something simple and nice, and so had a little extra money, decided to go ahead and get this. Anyway, hope that helps you out a little bit with the settings there. If you know, the other thing, hold on, let me come back in here real quick. Lok Chung, he was, you know, with Kai Wong. What's the name of it again? I just said it the other day. Digital Rev TV, when they were in Hong Kong. Very popular channel at the time. I don't know if the content's still out there. I don't know if they deleted it all. One of the funniest little skits they did was the where they were making fun of a Sony advertisement. I guess this was in Asia, where like, oh, women can take photos too, and they did this funny little skit about women in photography. But you'd have to go see it if you know what I mean. But Locke had also mentioned when he was reviewing the new S1 Mark II about the autofocus settings and how the general subject tracking that I'm talking about, how the little box just kind of changes shapes and shifts around and it'll wander too much. And that's exactly the problem I was having, because he mentioned also that he didn't want to change focus modes all the time. He just wanted to leave it in AFC and tracking, general subject tracking, and use it for focus recompose, just like I do. I was like, somebody doing exactly what I do and having the same complaints. So I'm not alone. So I know it's not just me, and I've had a few other commenters reply to that other video, people having the same issues. But anyway, it's like I mentioned, it's a shame because the Panasonic cameras, the G9 II and others, really nice cameras, a lot of great features and wonderful video. It just I just don't understand why they have these little issues with the focusing. And you remember the longest time they wouldn't give us phase detect autofocus. It was contrast based only. And finally, what was it, the S5 II, I think, that finally came out with the phase detect. But anyway, some known issues with Panasonic. But again, I really enjoy the G9 II. I'm not trying to slam it. I really love shooting with Micro Four Thirds as well as APS-C in full frame. But I just wish Panasonic would do something. As large of a company they are, I don't understand why they can't do something better than that. I don't know if the parent company won't give them enough money, or just all the talent is already at Canon, Sony, and these other places, and that's the best they can do. I don't know. But all right, I'm going to stop the recording, and you're looking at right now the baby deer habitat. This is where the deer go, and they have their babies out here sometimes. That's why I don't mow the grass out here, cut the field until sometime later in June, because then at that time the babies are old enough to get up and kind of run away. Otherwise, if they're too young, their instinct is just to lay there, unfortunately, and you'll end up hitting them and killing them, or severely injuring them. So I don't want to do that. But anyway, it's beautiful too. So look at this, this grass here. I love the seed heads on the grass out here. All right, well, thanks for watching if you listened to me babble that long.